Yeah, 5 shotgun, bro. Really?
The enemy's completed. Don't secure another.
Man,
Last
this dude
uplink
is
station
just
is now
firing shotgun.
offline. About to close.
Man, he go again.
How's it going, vaqueros, and welcome back to another shotgun video. And I hope you guys like going really fast, because today's video is all about the speed on one particular gun. Now, you know I love speedy shotgun builds. I love speedy builds in general. They're so much fun. I just love zooming around the map, even if it isn't the most ideal and it's sort of weak in some ways. I just love flying through the map with some kind of hilarious build. And today's video is going to be just that, although it is pretty damn good if you can make it work. And this is the speedy build for the Riveter. As you know, the Riveter is probably one of the better shotguns in Warzone currently. It just tends to fall flat for a lot of people because of the pellet spread. There's only 4 pellets and you have to really focus on hitting those 4 pellets. Otherwise, it's going to be very unforgiving, so a lot of people gravitate towards the Haymaker. But this thing has a great time to kill, insane mobility, and I really want to share it with you guys because, like I said, it's just super fun. So first, I'll share with you guys the build itself, and then I'll kind of talk a little bit about it and some more details about it. Now, keep in mind, I will have timestamps down below in the description if you want to hop to a certain part of the video, so let's just go ahead and get into it. So here we have the Speedy Riveter build. As you see, this thing is pretty tiny. Usually these speedy builds are often pretty small, and this thing is no exception. We're rocking the demo buffer tube, the Kilo short barrel, which I don't always advocate for a shorter barrel because it hurts range, but it's only 8% and you get a lot of mobility from it. Then we have Incendiary because that's a must on this shotgun. Do not use this thing without Incendiary rounds. Then the 10 round mag, which this is going to make it more for solos, maybe duos, but you're pretty much running through ammo in every single engagement, so just keep that in mind. And then we're rocking the Crown Breaker choke. Now this is a big kind of asterisk next to this one because it's really important to have a good spread, and honestly, if it wasn't for these 4 pellets, I would go with the underbarrel attachment known as the FTAC MSP98 hand stop because it gives you great mobility and it doesn't hurt your tac stance spread like the DR6 hand stop does. So it's a really good hand stop if you want that extra mobility. If you don't care about a spread, if you're just going to be pushing people's faces, being like at kissing distance and spitting distance, just take off the Crown Breaker choke and put on that hand stop and you'll be flying even more, I promise you. But this is sort of a happy medium, so it's not completely useless. So getting into more specifics about why this build is so fun, obviously the big thing about it is the mobility. We're hurting our range a tiny bit, but we are getting some great mobility with these attachments. And if you compare it to something like that Speedy 890 build, you'll see a lot of these stats aren't too far off. Of course, the sprint speed and tactical sprint speed, those go to the 890 absolutely. That thing is just in a league of its own when it comes to sprint and tactical sprint speed, but the base movement speed is actually pretty good and comparable. And also the aim down sights move speed is actually faster on this Riveter build than on the 890 speed build. So there's a few little cool things about it that make it really useful and fun, although we are only going to have 10 rounds and we're going to have a little bit less range than normal. Now, to kind of refresh your mind on why the Riveter is so great, other than the fact that it only has 4 pellets, which does kind of hurt it in a lot of ways, this is the basic damage profile for Incendiary rounds, which I said is the main way to run this thing. Never run it with the base ammo. As you can see, our time to kill is just kind of crazy at whatever range. As long as you're within that 10-meter range, you have potential for some serious devastating results, especially really, really close. That 300 millisecond time to kill is absolutely no joke. So you can barrel stuff people and just insta-melt them. It's so much fun, but again, the big downside is only having 4 pellets. That really makes a big difference. If you're a kind of guy who just hit fires all over the place, you really, really want to be pushing super, super close. Otherwise, this build is primarily for tac stance. You could aim down sights, but I do not like the iron sights on this thing. It's just very obtrusive, and of course the recoil on this thing is going to be pretty bad, but tac stance, everything is totally manageable and you get a nice clear sight picture. It's perfect. This is a really great tac stance build, and hey, if you want to, you could rock a different magazine, maybe just take off the 10 round and equip that hand stop and maybe put on the 30 round mag. I wouldn't necessarily do that because it kind of defeats the purpose of having a really fast build. This one's just a lot of fun, but I do understand if you want to be more practical, then by all means, but I think there's probably better ways to run it than rocking it this way, unless you just want to go for pure speed. And as an added bonus, I will mention, I made a video about this before, but you can always equip a skin on your Incendiary round, so you can basically go and change it to the Crimson Fate or Carbon Fate skin, which basically eliminates the flames. Unless you hit someone, you can see them kind of burning, but there's no visual obstruction from the flames, which can be a good thing and also a bad thing, because I guess some people like kind of blinding the enemy, which I understand. It is pretty annoying to kind of have flames in your face and not be able to see, so I can understand understand both sides to it, but honestly, it's fine either way. Just thought I'd let you guys know that little tidbit. As for my overall thoughts on this build, I think it's actually pretty fantastic. I know it's kind of funny and kind of niche, but man, you can work some serious stuff with this build. Like, just the fact that you have such a great time to kill and you're so fast, it really does make it great, especially in solos. This is primarily a solos build, but you can kind of make it work in duos, especially if you have a decent teammate. Trios and quads, you're gonna have to be pretty good because you have to manage your reloads, know when to reload and all that, and there is a skill to using this thing. As much as the community loves to bash on shotguns, there's definitely a skill gap to using something like this, as much as it hurts them to hear. But yeah, this build is a ton of fun, and I hope you guys really enjoy it. And that's pretty much going to do it for this video, guys. So as always, I want to know down below in the comments, what are your thoughts on this build? Have you tried kitting this thing out for speed? Because it's actually really cool. Do you still prefer using that Bryson 890 build I've showed a while back? And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video.